Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, it's Football at 4.
Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, which you can check out with Adam Caplan and Jeff Mosher. And, of course, it is brought to you locally by Caesars Entertainment Group of Atlantic City. Come experience the ultimate sports destination all season long. Wild Wild West, Tropicana, and Harrah's Resort Atlantic City. Book your game day experience today. Go to Caesars.com. All right, Adam Caplan is here as we take a look at the Eagles and the Jets and, of course, some injury news and everything that's happening around this team. Adam Caplan, welcome back, man. How are you?
Mike, good to see you. Yeah, look, there's no doubt we now have a quarterback injury with Jalen Hurts. So that's something that, everyone is wondering about and whether he'll play. And then you got an illness with Boston Scott, who did not practice this week, who's been terrific, by the way. We don't talk about him a lot, but he's been a great story. Remember, he had not had a carry from scrimmage until Sanders suffered an ankle injury 4 weeks ago. So it's kind of interesting, kind of what's going on with the Eagles here. They don't have a lot of guys who could potentially miss the game, but Hurts and Scott are certainly two key players.
Yeah, let's go to Hurts because he says he's going to play. The coach doesn't seem to be as optimistic.
Yeah, it's really not his call. What he has to do is tell him how he feels, but it's all about practice participation. He was limited. He didn't have a full practice this week. That would concern me. And you're having, he suffered this ankle injury. Reporters saw him after the game, and they noticed that he was clearly hobbled. So that's a concern. And then you have to ask yourself if Nick Sirianni, I know it would be a medical decision as well, if he can't do everything that he's supposed to do in the game, how in the world could you put him out? As a matter of fact, how could you even have to be the number 2 quarterback? Now, Reed Sinnett is the number 3 quarterback who they claimed off waivers from, the Dolphins weeks ago, I think?
Yes.
So he would be the number 2, and Minshew would start if Hurts can't play. I would put him in the very questionable category because he didn't have a full practice. If he had a full practice today, I would feel completely different about it.
Very interesting. So today, he was a lot of back and forth about whether he would play or not. The coach doesn't seem committed at all. And let me ask you this. If he's not 100%, if he's 85%, but he could play, but he can't be the same mobile guy, are you doing your team a disservice by playing him?
Yeah, it's funny. I brought that up with Jeff Mosher this morning on our show. What would you do? My thing is this. If he could fully function, he's playing. To answer your question, 85%, I'd have to know what that meant. If he can't, first of all, to play quarterback, to throw the football, you've got to be able to stick your foot in the ground, that injured ankle, and have no problems doing it. If you can't, you cannot be the quarterback. There's no debate. It's an easy call. If he goes out and practices and handles it without any issue, I'm not really worried about his ability to run. I want him to be able to throw the football when he needs to throw it. And the way that they're blocking, I understand it hurts is a big part of the run game, but even if Scott can't play, Miles Sanders, by the way, came out of the game really well. He'll be ready to start. They've got Kenny Gainwell, who we know the Eagles like. And then they could go to Jason Huntley, who's still in the practice squad if need be, which at this point, with Howard ruled out with a sprained knee for the second straight week, though Sanders will play, he's come back from an ankle injury. Boston Scott with an illness. I would think they would call up, they would activate Huntley by Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, which is the deadline, because they need depth at running back this week.
Let me get your thoughts on what this run game looks like so far. No Howard this week. He is out again. Do you think that not having him was a problem for their offense last week?
I didn't think so. I mean, they ran the ball for over 200 yards. You'd like to have a size, no question about it. Then you saw Sanders leave the game really in the second half and not come back. And Scott looked great. Other than the fumble, he looked terrific. What has puzzled me, with all this running, why doesn't Kenny Gainwell have a decent role here like he did earlier in the season? I don't quite understand it. I know, especially without Howard in the lineup. But typically when rookies don't play, there's something going on where the coaches don't trust them. That's just me covering the business for 21 years.
Yeah.
For him not being out there, they clearly don't feel comfortable enough in putting him in. It's a lot. I mean, it's not like he's not playing, but he had a pretty significant role earlier in the season. Right now, he has very little role, if at all.
Hey, Adam, while we're on the topic of running backs, I was talking last hour with Sal about this. Why do they not utilize the backs in the pass game much? I think Sanders has one catch.
Not enough, Mike. They don't get the screen game. I agree. I agree. We talk about this almost every week. Then once in a while they do it and we stop talking about it. I'm glad you brought it up. Boston Scott's a good screen runner, no doubt about it. Miles Sanders has always been good at it when he catches the football. I agree. And then Kenny Gamble was that guy. That's the guy we saw. Jeff and I were at training camp a bunch of times together. And I remember one practice where I said, I think he caught the ball 25 times. I remember saying that to him. Like, it seems like every play he's getting it.
Wow.
And that's what I mean. We're just not seeing it. I don't know. In fact, I wish the reporters would ask that question about why we do not see much of the screen game. Clearly not as much as we thought we'd see.
No, not at all. That was a conversation that we had a little earlier. It was Sanders has one catch since he has been back. It's been 2 weeks, but one catch in the 2 weeks that he has been back here. So there's your injury issues for the most part there. Obviously, Driscoll is done, so we were imagining Herbig will take his spot there, correct? Now, what about Kelsey? Do we feel that he is in danger of not playing? And in the event that he played and then had to leave in the middle of the game, do they go back to Herbig at center? What happens in that case?
Yeah, I would think they would move Herbig in there. Yeah, I do. Kelsey took all his reps today, so he'll definitely be able to play. His status is not in question. I give him credit because I know it was bothering him during the game, and he was able to come back as he saw. It's really – I love what Sirianni had to say about him. We know Jason Kelsey will not only go in the Eagles Hall of Fame, there needs to become a point where we start talking about him being NFL Hall of Famer, or Pro Football Hall of Fame is the official title of it. It's really remarkable. How in the world was he a 6th-round pick? I do remember covering that with the appendix issue, which caused him to lose a lot of weight. He weighed about 280 around the combine, but he's really a remarkable football player, and what a leader he is.
Let's look at the Eagles' offense here against this Jets defense. Jalen Hurts, obviously, we'll see what he brings to the table, but the Eagles obviously very good at running the ball. Nick Sirianni said this week, we struggle in the drop-back pass game. I mean, he flat out said that's where we struggle right now. So how does this Eagles offense match up with what the Jets do defensively?
Well, okay, a couple things. The Jets play way more man coverage than I expected, considering they don't have very good corners. One of their starting corners, Brandon Eccles, is on injured reserve. They lost 2 out of their top 3 safeties. Marcus May with a torn Achilles. LaMarcus Jordan, who was their nickel DB, he tore his triceps. He's out for the season. And they've had a bunch of defensive injuries. Carl Lawson, they lost before the season started due to torn Achilles. His backup, Bryce Huff, is out on injured reserve with a back injury. So the matchups are pretty good for the Eagles here. We know how great their offensive line is. Now, here's something I didn't bring up. I didn't put in my notes, but we need to talk about it. If Gardner Minshew plays, I still think they'll dominate with the run because he hasn't played and he's new to this football team. But Gardner Minshew is a more experienced quarterback. In fact, his rookie season, he won 6 Rookie of the Week awards for the AFC. So the guy's got ability. He doesn't have Hurts' explosive running ability, though he could scramble. He's also short. He's just over 6 feet. He's not very tall at all. But he's a good processor. He's a pretty accurate quarterback. When he's on, he's a good quarterback. He seems to lose it. Backups usually show who they are. But this guy, for sure, if he's got to play, this is just me. I don't know this is a fact, but it would not surprise me if they come out throwing a little bit more than they have this season with Hurts. Now, I'm talking about recent weeks. They were throwing the ball 35 times a game for the first 7 weeks, and obviously that's dropped to the low 20s. So I would expect them to throw a little bit more because of Minshew's experience.
Let's take a look. We just hit on why don't they throw the ball to the running backs all that much. The Jets are horrendous covering running backs. They're probably even worse at stopping the run. So you would think that the running back should have a big role this week.
I do. 4.9 yards per carry versus the run, a bottom 3 run defense. They don't cover very well. They've got good athletes. They're just not very talented overall. They're very beatable. The thing that they're doing is playing with a lot better discipline lately. You saw against the Colts and the Patriots, a couple other teams, they were terrible, but they're getting better. And the big story that's happened, and I don't know why the Eagles didn't keep trying to block them, but Elijah Riley was, as you remember, was on the Eagles practice squad. He now starts at safety. He started the last 2 games for the Jets, and Robert Saleh was asked, their head coach. He said that Matt Burke, who you remember, he used to be a D-line coach, or he was definitely an assistant under Jim Schwartz, and Marquand Manuel, who coached the DBs and the safeties last season for the Eagles, well, he's coaching the same for the Jets, and obviously they know him. So the Eagles, they don't have a developmental safety. I mean, Kavon Wallace is okay, but he hasn't shown enough to think that he could be the future. The Eagles don't know who the future at safety is. I don't know why they call him up and try to get him some more playing time.
Every time when the Eagles play, we seem to think, Adam, that they have an advantage with their offensive line. Does that change this week?
They do. Yeah, no, they have. The fact that the Jets have speed and athleticism. They're not very wide. They're not very stout. That's why they struggle. So I would expect a heavy run game and to be very successful. As I said, maybe Minshew, if he's starting, gets more to throw here. Now, obviously, if Hurts somehow plays with this bad ankle, you know they're not going to ask him to run. I mean, I just can't see it. And that's why, I don't know who's going to start, but to me, it would seem, unless he really shows something in tomorrow's walkthrough, because that's what they have tomorrow. The walkthrough's less than an hour. It's usually half an hour to 45 minutes. I know he's getting treatment on it. I can't see them risking it, but he better make a lot of improvement. That's the only way they'll clear him to play.
All right, Adam Caplan, Inside the Birds. The podcast is out, and, of course, they have the pregame show Sunday morning, 10 o'clock. The whole crew will be on hand to break this down. Let's break down the offense-defense from the Eagles' perspective on defense. Zach Wilson, we know John Gannon's defense has, look, for the most part, whenever they haven't played a Hall of Famer at quarterback, they seem to be okay.
Well, I don't know about Derek Carr being in the Hall of Fame, but, yeah, I would say this. They're playing with a lot better discipline. They're blitzing more. And the thing that has shocked me, this I didn't see coming because we knew they were going to come in as a zone defense this season, and they have. But they're playing with a lot more man coverage. In fact, they're about 18th in man coverage, Mike. They were, for the first 9 weeks, no one's playing more zone defense than them, about 87%. They're way down. They're around the 70th percentile. So what it shows me, and this is the reason why I'm bringing it up, it clearly shows that Gannon has more trust in his defense, and that's important to note.
Right, and then, of course, we know that the Eagles depend a lot on their front four, and the other team having problems with the offensive line. How's this Jets offensive line?
Yeah, it's decent. It's actually gotten better. George Fant, the former basketball player at Western Kentucky, is playing left tackle. He's played right and left for them. Elijah Vera Tucker's their left guard, who they traded up for in the first round. He's had a good season. Connor McGovern's back from his knee injury. He's been an underachiever. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif they acquired him in a trade from the Chiefs. Remember, he was the long-term starter, but he took last season off due to COVID. He's actually a doctor. He did some great work through the COVID issue last year. Then Morgan Moses was a long-time starter for Washington. So they're decent. The Eagles, this is not a bad offensive line. Quite frankly, it's better than the one they faced in the same stadium last week. Tell me about that. I mean, how in the world are they in the same stadium 2 weeks in a row? That's not their home stadium. Ridiculous.
Right. I don't know that that's ever happened before that I remember that they played these two teams. Obviously, they've only played the Jets 11 times ever. They've never lost to them here. Let me ask you that then, Adam. If they were to lose, what's the path to victory for the Jets?
Michael Carter, Sean running back, is out. They're going to have to make plays in the pass game. Tevin Coleman's not very good. He just knows the offense. Ty Johnson's a change-up. If Corey Davis can play now, it's the first time he practiced today in 5 days, and he was limited. Today's a late practice. The guy who's tearing it up is Elijah Moore, their second-round pick, who I love. They move him. He plays their Z position. They move him everywhere. Real explosive. He and Wilson don't have a lot of chemistry because of Wilson's knee injury. They just have not played a lot together, and Moore's been playing more and more by the week. If the Eagles don't turn it over, they should win this game. This is not like last week where the Giants had a lot of firepower. Of course, the Eagles shut them down for the most part. I can't see the Jets winning this game. Mosher and I thought that. I know Jeff thought all week he actually was going to pick the Giants, and he changed his mind. I was on the Eagles all week, but I thought it'd be a narrow victory, and we know what happened. I think this is a little bit different. I just think no matter who plays quarterback, they're going to be prepared, and I think they'll bounce back better this week.
It's the Joe Douglas Howie Roseman Bowl. It's can the protege beat the former boss? We'll see. The football guy versus the non-football guy. Jets, Eagles, Adam Caplan, and the Inside the Birds crew. Sunday morning, 10 o'clock on their YouTube channel as they preview this game a lot deeper. Adam?
One thing, we actually we're doing also a live watch, game watch. Check us out on Twitter. I forgot to mention that. We're doing a live. We did one last week, and there's a password Mylotta, the last name Mylotta, and you'll get a prize. Mosher's promised. He said, hey, you say Mylotta, you come up to us, you're getting a prize. So Look for the details on our Twitter account, on our social media, Instagram, same thing, at Inside Birds, and we will get it out to you, get the information, so make sure you do that.
All right, use that Mylotta. There you go. What do you guys do, like Peyton and Eli over there?
It's so fun, man. We had a good time last week. I love when people solve the trivia questions. They go out of their mind. We had some great gifts, man. Really, some pretty high-end gifts. Socks, hats, autographs. Not from Jeff and I, of course, from ex-players.
All right, Adam Caplan, Inside the Bird. Check out the podcast, check out the live show, and the live watch-along. There you go. Adam, take care, man.
Thanks.
All right, there's Adam Caplan from InsideTheBirds.com. He says he likes the Eagles to win the game.